I'm an actor because I didn't get cast as Cyrano in my high school, in the high school play.
Is that right?
That's one of the reasons. I wanted it really badly. I thought it had been promised
This was
to me.
in some Connecticut prep school?
No, it was in a Massachusetts prep school,
okay.
but it wasn't a prep school.
Hey, whatever happened to that guy who got Cyrano?
He became a lawyer. He became. Well, unless they're lying, I know there must be at least 20 or 30 people who have become lawyers because of Law and Order, because they've told me so. I've had to apologize time and time again. I became a lawyer because of you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, is it...
Job is sort of a Law and Order. It's like, because the
Right.
question of what justice is remains unanswered throughout.
Right.
I mean,
right. You're right.
the answer ultimately, isn't God's statement to Job?
Yeah.
Shut up, I'm God.
Yeah. Well, it's what you said about the frustration that Law and Order creates. People want to throw a shoe at the Old Testament for the same reason.
Exactly.
Right? They're saying, this doesn't make sense.
And Job's response to the way he is experiencing life is what we hope to evoke in the audience, which is, this is not right. Surely it could be run better.
I lived in a neighborhood, Bayside, Queens, where if you were not a veteran of the Spanish Civil War, you'd better have a damn good reason. And I remember when I was 11, I said to my mom, I'm the luckiest kid in the world. She said, why? I said, I'm white, Jewish, and American. And that's when she decided to bring me into the political meetings. Because she knew that I was lacking some political education. America is an activity. America must be sustained by active effort by its lawyers and teachers and parents and press and everyone else. And by compartmentalizing ourselves into left and right, we create the opportunity for no accountability, which is exactly where we are right now.
I went to work in Washington in 1981, and Hinckley had just shot Reagan. John Wilkes Booth shot Lincoln to avenge the South, and Hinckley shot Reagan to impress Jodie Foster. And there, in a way, you have the trajectory of idealism and the American political assassin.
Any recount is a combination of law and public relations.
That's right.
I mean, you want to say count all the votes, that sounds great. Everybody's for counting all the votes. Why'd they only file?
And certainly, I mean, and in the movie, the Ron Klain character at the end says, maybe we should have asked for recounting all the counties, and that's obviously something that they maybe should have done.
They didn't because they know they would have lost if they had done that.
Here's my view on that. If, in fact, Bush versus Gore is a serious piece of constitutional decision-making, and if, since then, we had prohibited this unequal counting of votes, I'd be prepared to accept it at face value. But the fact of the matter is, 8 years later, this still goes on. 8 years later, ballots are tabulated unevenly, and as Michael Hooley points out in the film, where these cheaper, less reliable voting systems are overwhelmingly minority communities around our country. And apparently that hasn't violated the Equal Protection Clause ever again, not once, except on the 12th of December of 2000. Now, that to me is my problem with taking this opinion as anything other than a political exercise by the Supreme Court.
It's not the job of art to change the mind of bigots. It's not the job of a movie to be a sledgehammer on the forebrain of the dullest mind, the most closed mind in the world. I think there's no question that Tom Hanks' performance and his Oscar speech moved the needle a little bit for some people in Middle America. It made AIDS more relatable and less alien, and you don't have to say that those people were out and out bigots beforehand and converts afterward. Sometimes moving the needle is a very big accomplishment for a movie.
Another case I'm remembering is when they were trying to figure out the constitutionality of a search on a Greyhound bus. Do you remember? And listening to the justices, I would say none of whom had ever set foot on a Greyhound bus, or certainly, not in the 20th century, was so just intriguing because it was really, another one of the many, many ways that you just get a sense of this is this august, serious, important body. And I make jokes, but I don't mean to diminish the importance of what they do. But they're deciding issues like how many seconds you're going to get to flush your crack down the toilet. And that tension for me is not just human. That's sort of the highest form of fear.
Plus, it's news you can use.
Right, right.
They value their anonymity.
I totally agree.
They don't want to be well. They want to go to the grocery store without being bothered, and they know that if they're on television, it's going to be harder for them.
Totally agree. And they all have these very kind of funny stories that they love to tell when they're out in public and people don't recognize them. Like Justice Stevens has one. The court's this beautiful. It's like the marble, like Dahlia was saying. And the sun's beating down on the the white marble late in the afternoon, and the Capitol's across the street. So Justice Stevens likes to go out, and get some sun in the late afternoon and just look at the vista of Washington. So one afternoon he's standing out there and up at the top of the steps in front of the court, and he notices these tourists waving at him. And clearly, of all the justices, some of these guys are not that recognizable out of the black robes, but he wears the bow tie and he's got white hair, and if you're going to recognize anyone, you might recognize. So tourists are waving at him, and so he kind of waves back, and then they wave some more, and he waves back, and then they get the old guy out of our picture. He realizes that they, and that's so funny.
It's practically the only explicitly feminist film that's ever come out of Hollywood, I think. Really, when you think about it, either current films or old films, it's all there on the surface. It's not implicit or subtext. But it is about the law in the sense that it's about the double standard in the law and the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law, which is being adjudicated all the time, isn't it, in trials?
It's a battle of the sexes in which nobody wins. And the moment I love in this film is when he finally forces her to admit that violence is wrong. He's not angry with her because, I'm the man and this is the way it should be. It's because he believes in the rule of law. It's a matter of principle. And when she concedes that, the look on his face as he bites off the licorice gut is absolutely priceless.
From the very day of the founders, obscene language, let's put the definition aside, but obscene language was not what was meant by freedom of speech. I mean, there will always be some speech in some circumstance that we won't protect. We don't protect espionage. No one's ever argued that perjury can't be a crime, even though it's talking, if not speech. The villains come in and say, well, all right, now we know freedom of speech isn't absolute. Let's just make it a rule of reason, which is, in effect, that if speech is really harmful to some social interest or other, why don't we let some serious level of constriction of it occur?
You have the right to decide not to watch this movie. You have the right to decide not to go to that comedy club. I will even defend your right to make basic decisions about your young children. But you know what? Your next door neighbor has exactly the same right. And therefore, it is not your role to deprive your next door neighbor of her own right to make her own decisions.
There can be revenge without justice. I think obviously the great revenge story is Hamlet, in which there's a lot of revenge and some justice. I think there are two separate issues. There is revenge and there is justice. And I think, along with Sophocles, that civilization is when justice replaces revenge.
When I was at law school, it was exploding because of the Vietnamese War. That was the years when University Hall was taken over by the students and the Boston police came in. I mean, there was incredible stuff going on. Everybody they were rethinking basic things. So if that's part of it. But I was also pissed off. I had this one guy in contracts who taught a wonderful course, and I had all the other professors who were just evil demons incarnate. And I felt it was my duty to say something about that.
Join us for Fordham Law School's ongoing exploration of law, culture, and society. And please visit our website for more information about our forthcoming conversations, our film festival, and other exciting events.